Have you ever wanted to play as a werewolf, were-boar, were-tiger, or even, I don't know, a were-human in your D&D campaign? Or better yet, have you ever been DMing a game of D&D and wanted to infect a player with the curse of lycanthropy, but there just wasn't an easy to use rule set that didn't totally break the balance of the game? Well, have I got just the thing for you. Today, our friends at Roll for Combat are granting us a little preview of the latest and greatest Ancestries book they've been cooking up for Battlezoo Ancestries, Living Legends. If you're not already familiar with Roll for Combat, you should know that their Ancestry books contain some of the most insane and creative player options in the game. And this one's no exception. It's got rules for playing things like a sphinx, a gargoyle, a psychopomp, and many other traditionally monstrous species, including, of course, the topic of today's video, werecreatures. When the Roll for Combat folks asked me which monster from their new book I wanted to preview, I was certainly tempted by many of the other options, especially the Evil Eye, because just look at how cute it is. Love this guy. But ultimately, I decided to investigate their take on werecreatures because making lycanthropy a species option is not just a cool possibility for the players at the table, but also for the Dungeon Master. It's something I've seen a few people try to tackle over the years, and I've never really found a solution that felt like it completely captured the feeling of being a lycanthrope without getting bogged down by overly clunky mechanics. So let's see if this book can finally give me the Therianthrope of my dreams. One of the trickiest things about lycanthropes, whether we're talking about were-tigers or were-pigs, is determining how they fit in with the society and ecology of your world. Are they a society of werecreatures a la the werewolves from Innistrad? Or are they merely savage individuals who lurk amongst larger societies? I think in either case, or in the event of a secret third thing, the outcome can be interesting. But it's one of the most important things to consider from the DM's perspective when you're going to include lycanthropes in your game world. And it's also something that the werecreature section of this book gives you a few ideas about, which is cool to see discussed before we even get into the game mechanics. Imagine having lore in your monster book. What a novel concept. Now, whether your intent is to use this book to create your next character, an NPC for your game, or to determine how lycanthropy might manifest as a curse beset on a player in your game, I figured the best way to put this book to the test would simply be to make a character. So let's do it. The first thing we need to decide is what kind of lycanthrope we want to be. We can choose between were-bear, boar, crocodile, rat, tiger, or wolf. And as much as I love the idea of going with the classic werewolf, mostly because that would give me an excuse to use all the Teen Wolf clips I have saved on my computer in a video, we're gonna go with something a bit less conventional and roll up a were-crocodile. As a werecreature, our primary species ability is called alternate form. This is the trait that dictates how the animorphs of it all functions mechanically. Our as of yet unnamed character here has a humanoid form, which can be any humanoid species we want. This changes nothing for us mechanically other than what our age limit is, so if you're into min-maxing, elf is probably the best choice. However, for our werecroc today, it's giving halfling. And all that really means is when we're in our humanoid form, people look at us and say, "That sure is a halfling." Fools, the lot of them. We of course have an animal form, which for us is going to be that of a crocodile. And we can swap between forms by using a bonus action. And when we do, we literally replace our in-game stats with that of the crocodile stat block, except we keep our 3 mental stats and our hit points don't change. And while a crocodile is only a CR 1/2 creature, it has a gnarly bite attack that not only grapples but also restrains its enemies, which is great, and has got a swim speed. Depending on which version of the 5e rules you're using, a croc can also hold its breath for either 15 minutes or an hour as well, so while I didn't foresee a buff to the crocodile's ability to hold its breath as something many people would notice, that's kinda sick. And while being a croc lurking in a swamp seems like a pretty good deal, we of course have a third form option, that of our hybrid form. In this form, our new character is very much a humanoid kind of guy, but also takes on many traits of a crocodile a la Killer Croc. In this form, we get a bite and a claw attack, which is fun, and if you knock a creature to 0 hit points with said bite attack at the DM's discretion, there is a chance you might even pass the curse of lycanthropy onto them, assuming they survive. While the hybrid form is generally considered to be our true form, you do actually get to choose which of the 3 forms is your true form. This is mostly for flavor, but if you're ever knocked unconscious or killed, this is the form you will revert back to, so keep that in mind. Every werecreature also gets keen senses, granting proficiency in the perception skill and the silver weakness trait, which has two primary functions. The first makes it so that you take a bit of extra damage whenever you are hit with a silvered weapon, and the second causes a cumulative level of exhaustion if you are ever made to wear something like armor or jewelry that is made of silver. This is a fun little trait that I imagine will be more RP focused than anything else, but if you ever get caught off guard, could be trouble. As a crocodile, we are also large when we go into our hybrid form, which is fun, especially considering in our humanoid form, our character is just a little guy. And as our special crocodilian trait, we get a swim speed and the ability to hold our breath for 15 minutes, even when in humanoid or hybrid form, so that comes in handy.
So, how do you like my swimming?
And while all of that makes for a slick and easy way to apply lycanthropy to a character as their species, there are a few more things to explore in this book that can really flesh out the beast within, as it were. In character creation, the next thing we need to do is choose a background, and while we could go with any of the backgrounds in the player's handbook, there are of course a few werecreature specific backgrounds we can check out as well. Animalkin are werecreatures who lean into the purely animalistic side of their nature, often considering their true form to be the one that usually has 4 legs. Assimilators are the total opposite, being werecreatures who lean into the humanoid side of their being and go to great lengths in order to conceal their lycanthropic nature. Gifted are werecreatures who don't see lycanthropy as a curse at all, and instead refer to it as a gift, often seeking out worthy candidates for taking on the gift of lycanthropy. Within the umbrella of the gifted are also a group called evangelists, who share many of the same goals and ideals, though rather than seeking out individuals they feel are worthy of the gift, they attempt to share it with everyone. Sometimes even those who would rather not turn into a bear. And lastly, there are the Furies, werecreatures who embody the classic trope of a beast gone mad with the rising of the full moon. They're the loose cannons of werecreature kind, and they're largely responsible for the many preconceptions people have about lycanthropes in general. While all of these backgrounds are fun in their own way, I really like the idea of our halfling werecroc just being so stoked about his ability to turn into a giant reptile. So I think we're gonna go down the gifted path, which gives us proficiency in the insight and nature skills as well as a couple extra languages. Now, since our character is all about finding those who might be worthy of becoming werecrocodiles themselves, it makes sense that they would be in some kind of role that revolves around travel and interacting with others, right? According to the lore in the book, many werecrocodiles are drawn to a life at sea, taking up piracy. And I couldn't help but feel inspired by that. I decided our werecrocodile NPC here is going to be the captain of a pirate ship named the Lockjaw. He sails the high seas with his crew of werecrocodile sailors, executing brutal ship takeovers and raids against unassuming merchant ships in their hybrid form, then returning to port to sell their stolen goods and masquerading as normal humanoid creatures. Surely no one would suspect the kindly halfling captain of such treacherous behavior. Little do they know, however, this small sailor houses a monstrous secret. I also really like the idea that this pirate captain, as someone of the gifted mindset, once in a while will come across a sailor on one of the ships they're raiding and see the potential of a worthy candidate, testing them until they prove themselves to be a valuable member of the pirate crew, or get an up-close and personal look at that good old crocodile death roll. Plus, having a swim speed equal to your move speed, and being able to hold your breath somewhere between 15 minutes and an hour, depending on which version of the game you're playing, while at sea, goes crazy. But with all of that decided, I realized I was missing something kind of important. I forgot to pick a class. So since I want this character to be an NPC in somewhat of a leadership role, but not a big end-of-the-world tier threat, I decided making him a level 7 Battle Master would be perfect. That gives our man plenty of great abilities that are super fitting for a pirate captain and really play into the werecroc of it all. All the stuff a fighter can do is just generally going to be super useful for any character really, but specifically this one, especially if we take the unarmed fighting style in order to do a couple things. For one, it makes all of the attacks in our hybrid and animal form pop off for some more damage, and for two, if our boy is in crocodile form and has someone grappled in his jaws, it makes it much harder for them to break out, and we'll start stacking on some extra damage as long as they remain grappled. If you wanted to go full tilt into the whole grappling thing, you could take the grappler feat at level 4, that's a very fun option, but I was a little bit more drawn towards the werecreature specific feats within the book, which as always are very fun and allow you to fulfill exactly the kind of lycanthrope RP vibe you want to capture. For this character, the 4th level feat feat Alpha and Omega seemed like a great option. It gives you a choice between Alpha or Omega, and obviously our pirate captain will be taking on the role of the Alpha Croc. And by choosing the Alpha option, that will give us a neat ability which allows us to make the crew a bit more potent. Anytime an ally who can see or hear the captain makes a skill check, if they're not proficient in said skill check, they add half their proficiency bonus to the roll. So while this won't make Captain Croc more deadly, it will make his entire crew just kind of better at everything that he's good at, i.e. all the pirate skills like athletics, intimidation, stealth, or perception. For our level 6 fighter feat, we're gonna take the Ancestral Blending feat, which gives some very fun lycanthropic benefits. For one, dude is so good at masking that only divination magic can reveal his true nature. And for two, he is treated as a humanoid for the purposes of anything mechanical going on within the rules of the game. He also gains the species trait of his apparent species, which in this case, being halfling, means that he gets brave, halfling nimbleness, naturally stealthy, and best of all, good old halfling luck. We love to reroll natural ones. All of that combined with the fighter's core abilities, some choice maneuvers from the Battlemaster subclass like Commanding Presence, Commander Strike, and Evasive Footwork, and I think this is a pretty sick character. Now all he needs is a name. It's gotta be something awesome. Something piratey. I hereby christen thee Captain Clamwise Slamgy. Hell yeah. Now if you want to make some werecreature NPCs of your own, or maybe you want to be a werecreature yourself within the next campaign you are participating in, I highly recommend you check out the Roll for Combat Battlezoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter page, which is linked in the description down below. The book is really cool, has some awesome player options in it for a ton of wild species that are not only balanced for the game table, but also just a good time and very creative in their execution. I genuinely had a ton of fun reading through the werecreature stuff, and as a forever DM, I found it super useful as a tool for world building, which is a major plus for me. Anytime something can work on both sides of the screen, we're happy. Obviously the book itself is the main course, but if you're so inclined to do a little poking around in the Roll for Combat Kickstarter, they are also offering some really cool little add-ons and Kickstarter only extras. They've got hundreds of animated tokens that will work on nearly any virtual tabletop, a Psychopomp plushie, which is adorable, a wooden dice mimic, the Chalice of Gold Dragons, tons of plastic pawns, dice bags, dice sets, and honestly, you should just go check it out for yourself and see what you think. Pick the pledge level that's going to best suit your needs, and go from there. Thank you so much to Roll for Combat for sponsoring this video. I appreciate it immensely, and I also appreciate all the cool stuff they make. Personally, I can't wait to bust out this pirate crew on my players. I'm actually going to use this in a game I'm running, and if you want to use the good captain in your game, I'll link to the stat block I made for him down below as well. If you do decide to use him or some variation of him as an NPC though, just make sure you give him a cool pirate accent. Make lots of puns about crocodiles. The players might think it's all fun and games, at least until the little fella transforms into a 12-foot tall crocodilian commander. A nightmare. But that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.